you are feeling guilt because you broke up with someone, right? I've been there, man. I feel you, dude. The hardest thing to do really is to be honest with somebody and let them go when you don't feel like it's a right fit. Some of the reasons why I feel guilty or have felt guilty in the past from my experience is that I was uncertain. You know, I didn't trust myself. Even though I knew that it was the right move, I just didn't trust myself, man. I didn't feel confident in who I was no matter what decision I was making.
Those are the things I missed the most. The little idiosyncrasies that only I knew about. That's what made her my wife. Oh, and she had the goods on me, too. She knew all my little peccadillos. People call these things imperfections, but they're not. Oh, that's the good stuff. And then we get to choose who we let into our weird little worlds. You're not perfect, sport. And let me save you the suspense. This girl you met, she isn't perfect either. But the question is whether or not you're perfect for each other. That's the whole deal. That's what intimacy is all about. Now, you can know everything in the world, sport, but the only way you're finding out that one is by giving it a shot.
When you really care about somebody, you make it happen.
Okay.
Some way, somehow. But then it gets to a point where, you know, work or whatever you're involved in, it can become overwhelming. You got to do this responsibly and what protects everybody's feelings. So you just got to be mature, even if that means that if you got to take yourself out of a situation just to protect your relationship with, or, you know, just your relationship as far as being friends with another person, you got to do that, you know?
So to make a big choice, like to let somebody go that I had cared about at one time, at least decently, it sounds like you cared about this woman. It was very jarring afterwards. It's like you have like returner's remorse a little bit. You know, I think what you need to do is just trust your instincts.
In order to really truly learn about yourself and about life, you have to overcome adversity. You have to experience things. And I firmly believe that in order to truly appreciate love, you have to understand and really have felt hate. And to really appreciate camaraderie, you have to feel loneliness. So this is just a part of being a person for whatever reason.
And the only thing I won was being alone or being less connected to others, you know? And not only did I miss out, could I miss out on caring about people, but I missed out on feeling probably a lot of the love that people had for me.
I think I'm constantly learning to let go. Because anything that I try to hold on to, whether it's good or bad, doesn't serve me. Not in a relationship, and it doesn't really serve either of us. And that's really hard to keep letting go and to keep letting her go.
I have a very hard time letting go. A very hard time letting go. If somebody dies, like, I can handle that. But like loss and letting go of people I care about is really hard. The idea of things ending is super hard. And as a consequence, I've stayed in relationships far too long.
Find someone you can love like crazy and who'll love you the same way back. How'd you find him? Well, forget your head and you listen to your heart. I'm not hearing any heart.
My advice about relationships is be somebody, and then also like find someone who you can grow with, right? You don't want to be with someone who doesn't share your values. You don't want to be with someone who makes excuses. You don't want to be with someone who's lazy or who's spiteful. You want to be with someone who's like genuinely kind. That's one of the things that I really love about my wife, and she's very smart and she works hard. She's a dedicated, disciplined person. She's also really nice. That's one of the things I like the most about her. She's so nice. She's always smiling.
My breakup protocol sucks, and it really needs work, because everyone close to me who knows me really well and who I trust says you stay in relationships way too long that we're either fated to fail or that we're clearly going to fail. At some point, you just kept slogging away. Now, sometimes I slogged away in the wrong ways, and they did too, but somehow I've really struggled to move on from things. And as a consequence, I've stayed in things far too long that never had a chance, that were really unhealthy. And in particular, I've taken on things that were just far too difficult from the beginning.
Sometimes you're running and the other one's walking.
And it's okay to be ahead, but don't lose sight. Don't get so far ahead that you leave your mate lost back there going, sometimes, somebody's real healthy, the other one's on IR. But we're still on the same team. That takes patience by the one who's healthy and takes persistence by the one who's on IR. But you gotta wait up to hold that hand to go, we're still doing this together. Even though maybe in this zone right now in my life, I'm flying and you're walking.
People who are in bad relationships or like unhealthy relationships, one of the reasons they're unhealthy is that there's a running scorecard that's going on. So there's this like running tally in each person's head of like, well, I did this thing for you and I did this other thing for you and you never did this thing for me. And when I was here, like you weren't there to support me. And like, there's just like a scoreboard that's always being calculated. And what those people don't realize is that it's the scoreboard itself that is the problem. It's not that one person is like quote unquote winning or losing. And so I think when it comes time to like somebody's like wants to break up or wants to end a friendship or, stop speaking to a family member or whatever, they're thinking of it in terms of the scoreboard. They're like, well, I just need to show this person that I'm winning this scoreboard right now. And if
I'm justified in my departure.
Exactly. So if they understand that, then they'll understand why I'm like not going to be their friend anymore. And it's like, well, no, dude, like the scoreboard's actually the problem in the first. Like the fact that you feel a need to keep score in the first place means it's a shitty friendship.
Sorry to break it to you, but it's impossible for someone who destroys your mental health to be the love of your life. Obsessing over someone isn't love. It's fear disguised as affection. Unhealthy love often feels exciting, dramatic, and profound, but hurts us in the long run. Healthy love often feels dull, peaceful, and repetitive, but it heals us in the long run.
The moment that I accepted that I may never get over her was the moment I was free. It almost doesn't make sense, but it does. He said, the moment I stopped obsessing over getting over her, I was free. Because now I wasn't holding on to it so tightly when actually what I'm trying to do is let it go.
Have you healed?
No, but I haven't healed like all the way.
So why not be single first?
That's not my choice.
Elaborate, what do you mean?
Well, it's not meant for everybody to be alone after a painful, depressing breakup, because that's how people kill them. Some people go into a state of depression and they never get out of it because they want to isolate and say, until I get all my shit together, I don't even want to give love a shot. I think love can help you to love again if you allow yourself. So I think, I think that's a tradition that a whole lot of women I find could find themselves sticking to. I know niggas is like, oh, niggas, soon we break up, we in the club, we out. That wasn't my approach. But I knew that I was so traumatized and shook and confused that I did not need to be alone, and I also didn't need to be in no club.
Because love does hurt. Love hurts. It hurts to care. Love hurts so bad that it's the funniest thing. We have the oddest relationship with it. We all want it and we all need it, and yet we try to dodge it. Maybe it's because it's so expensive. Love is expensive, not just with checks and dinner and stuff. I'm not talking about cars and flowers and stuff. Love is expensive because love requires an openness that is unsettling, a transparency that is difficult.
Because what we resist persists. Anything that we're trying to avoid, we almost attract it. We bring it back into our lives. And so instead of this constant feeling of like, I need to just let go, I need to leave it behind, I need to move on, just move. Just walk forward, take that step, find a connection. What you find is that the mind naturally dissolves old memories when we make new ones. The mind forgets the old path we used to walk when you chose a new path to walk, right? If you had one way that you went to work, the first couple of days, if you tried a new route, it was a bit weird for the brain. But now that you've been taking that new route for 10 years, you forgot about the old one, it just went away. So most of the time, I think a lot of what we're trying to let go of, it's gonna dissolve on its own accord, in its own time, at its own pace, and we shouldn't wait for that to be over to move forward, because you could be waiting forever and waiting for a long time. And you don't leave something behind by waiting for it.
You have to choose to want to be with someone, because love is not always going to be every single day. It's a choice. And some days I'm not going to love you the way you love me. Some days you're not going to love me the way that I love you. But I got to pick up your slack and you have to pick up my slack, because we're choosing this, not because fate or the universe or love So we get misconstrued with a lot of that fairy tale, movie, TV, Disney shit. And it's like, if you want someone to be in your life, you will do everything above and beyond to keep that person in your life. No ifs, ands, or buts. If that's the person you want to be with, you make it work.
If anyone who doesn't choose you cannot be for you, if they don't see you, like, what is a relationship? It's someone sees you, they accept you, and they want that. That's the most beautiful part of a relationship. So if someone doesn't see you and accept you and want what they see, then this relationship is missing the most beautiful part of any relationship. You know, it shouldn't be desirable at that stage because it has failed the fundamental test of what makes a relationship worth having. We're not talking about a person who, in at least the case I feel we're talking about, the person who was taken from us by life. We're talking about a person who's just walking around somewhere, still existing on the planet, but choosing not to be with us.
What is the worst relationship advice you've ever heard or received?
Find someone who loves you more than you love them.
What's the best relationship advice you've ever heard, received, or given?
Make a list of the things that are truly important for you to find in a partner, and then be that list.
I want her to be happy, no matter what that means. I want her to find someone who'll treat her with all the love she deserved from me. Who'll see her always as I do now.
Now that's a prayer.
Yeah.
You guys seemed perfect. Well, Nick, there is no perfect. There will always be struggle. You just have to pick who you want to struggle with.
I love that girl so much. She's so beautiful. Oh my Lord, I love you so much. I would not, she has been, and I'll break down crying right now. She has been the safest place for me to become the man that I never thought I could be.